Hey friends, if you like scandals, secrets, and affairs, then I hope you love today's Q&A. Okay. My loves, you know it's Laugh Cry DIY. You know I'm your girl Katie, and today is the most special episode of all time because the channel is officially 1 year old. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Shot, 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 shots. Spin drift, spin drift, spin drift. Okay, cool. 1 year ago, I uploaded my first video, my cane cabinet, and little did I know that I would end up with a wonderful community of laughers and criers all over the world. And so to celebrate this monumentous occasion, I put out the call on Instagram, on YouTube, and I desperately begged you to ask me questions, thinking I would get like 5 and 2 would be from my friends. But no, instead, we have 47 questions to answer. So today, we're gonna sit back, we're gonna relax, and I'm gonna tell you all of my deepest, darkest secrets. And I have organized them into several categories. So let's start with career. I think I feel like very like magazine editor in a movie that's like, I don't care about your love life, just get the story written. I had to buy this blazer when I was an intern years ago, and they told me that no one in business would ever take you seriously unless you were wearing a blazer. Well, joke's on them because that company has dissolved. Selena, Vic's Vintage Finds, and Andres all want to know, what made you get into DIY? Did you study something related to DIY or decorating? How did you arrive to DIY and YouTube? Well, I always loved DIY because I've always been a cheap whore at heart with a deeply dysfunctional scarcity mindset. And I'm also very picky. So like, for example, I might see something cute in the store, but it might be too small or too big for the space I need it to go into. And so I'd always try to figure out how I can make it exactly the dimensions I want in my mind. I also love working with my hands. I was always like making a quilt on the side or sewing some curtains. And in college, I was a journalism and communications major, and my first internships were actually at home decor magazines. Kristal and Selena want to know, do you have another job other than YouTube? So, up until the pandemic, I was a writer and stand-up comedian. Then the pandemic hit, stand-up stopped, and for reasons I'll tell on another AMA, I had to move twice within like 1 calendar year during the pandemic. So I'd been decorating 2 apartments from scratch. I was already obsessed with DIY YouTube, and I was like, why not have my own channel? Why not show the many disasters that are DIY? My drill bit just broke off. Why does orange keep getting on it? First strip is an inch short. And I honestly thought like my closest 10 friends would watch it just to see me doing my stupid shenanigans. But cut to a year later, and all of you beautiful people are watching, and I refuse to stay humble. So you've created a monster. Kate LAAA wants to know, have you done any work as a comedian before? You give big minor Canadian celebrity vibes. How do you know Deborah DiGiovanni? Are you Canadian? I am not Canadian, but I am absolutely going to make shirts that say minor Canadian celebrity energy. Baguette approves. Like I said, stand-up comedian, did not do any work in Canada, to my knowledge. And I met Deborah doing stand-up in LA. And if you haven't seen the very colorful, cute makeover I did on Deborah DiGiovanni's kitchen, click here, wherever that is. Angel says, who are some up-and-coming comics we should all be supporting? Because I'm in LA, I'm gonna tell you some of my favorite LA comics, which would be Jonathan Cerda-Rowell. We made the Mariah Carey rainbow tank tops. Rachele Friedland, you guys saw her kitchen makeover. I will link a bunch of people below. There are so many talented and funny people in the world, even though streaming platforms make it difficult to find women and queer creators. Devin says, who were your comedic influences? Growing up, I was an SNL hoe. I loved Tina Fey, I loved Amy Poehler, I liked Wayne's World and stuff. But to be honest, I didn't actually grow up watching much comedy or stand-up comedy because my parents are kind of hippies who limited TV viewing. But some of my favorite stand-up comics would be Chelsea Peretti and Cat Williams. 2 very different stand-up comedians. H&H Ranch wants to know more about my time working at Dog Fancy magazine. Dog Fancy was a magazine by dogs for dogs celebrating the dog lifestyle. I was an editor there, which means we edited stories, we did photo shoots. It was also a company that published a lot of other animal magazines, and you would like hear cats screeching in the photo studio, and then you'd hear someone be like, has anyone seen the snake? And then sometimes they would pull employees in to model, and that was pretty cute. Josephine wants to know, do you get paid for your DIYs and how do you find clients? Yes, I have been taking on design clients. When a DIY is required, I will get paid for it. And where do I find clients? Obviously, Backpage. Andres says, it's a lot of time you put into this, so would you say remodeling furniture is a good side hustle on its own? I really wish when I was younger that I knew more about furniture flipping because it can be super easy, very simple, and very fun to do. If you buy a base set of supplies, if you like working with your hands, and even if you don't, you can pick up free furniture on the side of the road, bring it home. You don't even have to paint it. You can just beautifully stage it, post it, flip that baby, go to Cancun, get drunk, commit a crime, get arrested, cause a media frenzy, get pardoned, get home, and then sell your life story. And just like that, you've made millions. And now it's time for a new topic. Heather says, how did you and Baguette meet? I did not have an animal for many years because I felt like I was too stressed. And then the pandemic happened and I was home and I thought maybe I could foster a cat. And then we found out that there was a hoarder situation in our neighborhood. So we went over in person to see it, and Baguette came from a home that was a studio apartment that had 15 cats and a dog in it. We brought her home and she would lie in a straight line, and the color of her coat looks like the perfectly toasted like French baguette. And that is how she got her name. And I thought she was a boy until we took her in to get fixed, and then they called me to let me know that my boy was a girl. And I was like, she's very Gen Z, very gender fluid, love that story for her. Okay. Joan says, has Baguette always walked on a leash? Yes, we got her when she was 4 months old, and we thought it would be funny to put her on a leash. We opened the door and she was like confused at first, and then she stepped out into the world and did not know or care that she had a harness on, just went walking and exploring. Because she came from a house with a lot of animals, she just wants to go out and see everybody and say hi. And we literally take her out every single morning for a 20-minute walk. Sahar asks, Baguette, how do you cope with being the cutest cat alive? You're the star of the show. You're the star of the channel. Say hi to the people. Her mama. You brat. Who is Baguette's celebrity crush? We live near Griffith Park, which is inhabited by one very famous mountain lion, P22. He's a bachelor, and I'm pretty sure that that is Baguette's celebrity crush. Kylie wants to know, what is Baguette's dating status? Well, like any good mother, I've really been shaming her about her sexuality and discouraging her from exploring it. So, no dating until she's at least 21. Mark asks, does Baguette have an OnlyFans? She has an Only Cans of tuna. I did just come up with that, and that is great. Sarah says, what's Baguette's fur routine? It's so simple. She starts with a hydrating primer. She works in a leave-in conditioner, but the real key to her fur routine is about 28,000 licks a day. Next subject. Catherine wants to know, what is the favorite thing you've ever made that you're most proud of? That would definitely be my first video, my cane cabinet, because the fact that I hand cut out the insets of that cabinet, and it took me hours and hours, and I was so sore. But every time I look at it, it's so beautiful and so precise that I am so proud of it. Chelsea says, which member of NSYNC would you want to DIY for? I would love to DIY for Joey. He seems like the one who's most likely to know how to use a drill. Angel says, which design trend are you sick to death of? Wow, get me canceled much, Angel? I'm a colorful maximalist, so I cannot live with neutral minimalism, but some of my best friends are minimalists. And has it been hard? Yes. Have we had to process that through therapy? Yes. But as a society, we have to learn to accept each other's differences and diversity. And yes, I consider white minimalism diversity. Chelsea, back with the Y2K questions. If Britney Spears hired you to decorate her nursery, what would the theme be and what would be a must-do? The theme would be blackout. The must-do DIY would be a baby stripper pole, but the baby stripper pole would actually be the cane from the Britney Spears Stronger video. And when you guys see baby stripper poles trending next year, you know who started it. Sarah says, what's a cheaper way to duplicate a wallpaper look? I do have a video on this, the washi tape faux wallpaper video. If you guys haven't seen that, click here. Other favorite ways to duplicate wallpaper is liquid starch and fabric. You paint liquid starch on the wall, you put fabric over it, paint it again with liquid starch. When it dries totally to the wall, peel it off, no problem. Joe says, what is the best method for exorcising spirits from vintage items? Well, as a thrift store whore, I've gotten many vintage items with many spirits inside them. And as we all know, they cannot be exorcised. They can only be internalized, and you must become one with them and give your body to their power. Also, Dawn dish soap. Sarah would also like to know, what are my best tips for finding the Facebook Marketplace things of your dreams? Search around the end of the month because everyone's moving out and panic listing their items. If you're really on a budget and you want to score stuff for really cheap, honestly, you can't put in like, you know, postmodern 80s Art Deco marble table. You just have to put in coffee table. And also think of all the different ways people might describe something. So for example, I was recently looking for a console table. I was searching side table, entryway table, sofa table, tiny table, tall, narrow table. You have to get inside the mind of the seller. Also, because I'm a DIYer, look for the base item that then DIY it into the version of the chair that is in your dreams and in your head and in your wallet. Corinne says, what are some tips you can give me so that my DIYs don't look so amateur and dollar store chic? Love that question. I'm gonna do a whole video on it. Stay tuned. Samantha asks, how do you get started on your research? You have so many good tips. What do you put in your search bar? How much time do you spend searching? It really depends. A lot of times I just have an idea in my head and then I'll just search around till I find something similar, or I will call like my friend Mark or my friend Robbie, who are both like hardcore tool dudes, and then they will usually tell me like a really good way to do it, and then I will feel that that is too expensive and complicated and I will ignore their advice. But honestly, there's so much information, so many great people in the community sharing stuff. So if you have an idea, just Google, read the top 3 articles. There's probably some good tips in there. Alina says, how much cane is too much cane? Asking for a friend. Guess what? I am that friend. And the answer is, there is never enough cane. Even if people are like bohos going out of style, who cares? If you like it, enjoy it. Andres says, where have you had the best luck finding vintage furniture? Is it easier or harder in LA? Everything is harder in LA. We have more thrift stores, but we have more resellers. People know what to look for, people know what they're selling. And that's why actually my favorite thrift stores are a little bit outside of LA, they're in the suburbs. No matter where you are though, the best place to find any sort of vintage antique stuff is the thrift store that is in the town where all of the elderly people live. Seriously, shout out to my grandmas and grandpas. Thank you for saving generations of furniture. Thank you for buying entire pristine mid-century sets when you got married in the 60s and never getting rid of them. That is where you are most likely to find the coolest stuff. Marina wants to know, what are your thoughts on those 5-minute crafts? Have you ever tried them? Are they really 5 minutes and are they worth it? I love those videos, we've all seen them, but I just find a lot of them to be really impractical. Like sometimes it's like 5-minute craft, how to turn an orange peel into a paper clip, and you're like, why would I do that? But sometimes there are crafts that are so easy, I've actually thought about doing like mini episodes. Curious to know if you guys would be interested in those, because sometimes there's things I do that I think are just too simple for an episode, but change my mind. Desiree says, where can I find poor girl power tools? Facebook Marketplace is the best place to buy all cheap tools. Joan says, would you ever do an episode where people send you DIYs to try? I would love to do that. Spendle says, are you considering doing more thrift trips, maybe a flea market with me kind of video? Yeah, if you guys love those, I would definitely do another thrift with me. And if there's other videos like that you want to see, please comment below. Angel, my favorite toker, wants to know, would I ever do a laugh cry DIY? Hi. I would not do a laugh cry DIY because if I were high, I would not be speaking. But this has inspired me to do maybe a little craft and cocktails. Maybe bring a friend on the channel, do a little drunk DIY with no power tools. Stay tuned. Long thighs save lives. Wanted to know, where did I get my hardware in my kitchen? And the truth is that it came with the kitchen. I believe it is vintage. I think it's like cut glass, but I did link some incredibly similar ones below that I found online that are very, very similar, if not cuter. Angel wants to know, from the first moment of taping to uploading the vid to YouTube, how long does that process take usually? Do you edit your videos yourself? Yes, I shoot, I edit, I do hair and makeup, visual effects, and I sexually harass myself on set. So really kind of a one-woman operation. How long does the process take? It depends on the video. Sometimes it's an hour or 2 to do a project. Some videos, like when I restored my mid-century credenza, took I think 9 weekends. Angel says, are there projects you've ever filmed and thought halfway through that you were over it and wanted to quit it? There's certainly projects that I DL hate now and wish I could redo, and maybe someday I'll do a redemption story, but thus far I am not a quitter and I have not abandoned any projects for videos. Similar question from Chelsea and H&H Ranch. What is the most pain in the ass project you never want to do again? Definitely refinishing that mid-century credenza. Now I think I know how to do it better, but I would certainly never, ever, ever take on something that had already been like super pre-stained, pre-lacquered, whatever the hell that stain was, because it was and continues to be my greatest nemesis. And now our final category. Secrets. The Cardboard Kid wants to know more about my life outside of DIY. Well, my name's Katie, I live in Los Angeles. I'm a Capricorn, I don't have my ears pierced, and I have been framed for murder multiple times. Hector wants to know, ¿Tiene novio? Escándalo. Tengo un novio y él es mexicano. Sahar wants to know, what is the hardest part of being in a relationship and what is the hardest part of being single? Being single, I think the hard part is the uncertainty of your future if you're someone who like wants kids and a family and stuff. You have to just enjoy the best part of being single, which is the freedom, the time to just focus on yourself. And being in a relationship, the challenge is that you don't have that freedom and independence. You do rely on another person, and that can be beautiful for support. That said, I do just want to say some things about relationships. I do not think that relationships are accomplishments, and I think that marriage is an event and a choice, but I do not think it is an aspirational goal. And I deeply despise the wedding industry. And the truth is that no matter what happens in life, you're still alone, and tragedy can strike at any time. So really, finding yourself, finding your joy, and focusing on growing and nurturing yourself is really the most important thing to do in life. Angel asks, what's the last BS excuse you made to get out of a date? I could not think of an excuse I made to get out of a date, but there was once a very aggressive Mary Kay saleswoman who wanted me to sell for Mary Kay when I was in college and like would not leave me alone, and I told her ultimately that I couldn't do it because I was joining the Peace Corps. Sue me. H&H Ranch asks, how is your mom? Tell her we love her garage. My mom is great, and thank you for loving her garage. She was very self-conscious about me publishing anything from her garage, and I had to tell her, the people love it. The boxes are a look. We'll be seeing boxes on the runways of Melon soon, all because of her amazingly organized, cluttered garage. Alice says she wants to see more personal style from my own home. We are embarking on a refresh of decor, which will be coming to your YouTube screens very soon. Angel also wants to know, when will we see Jake Kilroy again, and is he single? I did Jake's backyard makeover last year, do you guys remember? And great news, Jake is still single, and we're doing his bathroom makeover in the next few months. Angel also asks if I've ever punched anyone for real. No, only for money. And are you the type of person who is habitually late or habitually early? I am notoriously early. Can you fold a fitted sheet? Hell no, I cannot. What's something that's coming up that I'm really excited about? I am so excited about an upcoming project, and all I can say is 2 words: faux fireplace. And that, my dears, is the end of our questions, and here's the biggest secret. These were all blank. Did you guys know? But seriously, I just want to say, you guys are so nice. I had no idea what to expect when I started this channel. Don't leave. So much of social media is cheesy, so much of it is fake, so much of it is annoying. But you guys are the sweetest, the funniest people from all over the country, all over the world. I want to hear from you guys more. What kind of videos do you want to see? What do you struggle with? What do you need tips on? I want to offer a very special apology to the woman who said she would not watch my videos because I curse too much. I'm very sorry. Thank you to everybody who let me make over their space this year. The gals, the gays, and the 2 straight men that watch. The Dollar Tree corporations. Thank you so much to my very frequent commenters. Donatella Versace for this look. I love you, thank you. And now it is time for me to go walk Baguette.